Welcome, baseball family, to the Thursday Night Live episode of the Baseball Together podcast. My name is Brad, and I am here as per usual with our guy Brig. How are you this evening, Mr. Brig?
I'm great. How are you, Mr. Brad, man?
I'm doing well. Doing well. We got a little end of season baseball party to go to later this evening, so
Oh yeah,
it should be fun. Play some arcade games and stuff. So
you
very
gotta love
excited. Very excited. Well, there is, as of about a couple minutes ago, a couple additional things to get into. So since we have so much, let's get it started. First things first, notable pitchers making their season debuts Friday. So Justin Verlander has been out with shoulder inflammation. And he
I
will be
like
making his
inflammation better.
inflammation. It's inflammation now.
It's inflammation.
So he'll be starting against the Nats. Talk about starting with I don't know, like a little bit of padding or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be nice. That'll be really good for him to get his start that way. And I don't want to say I'm hoping they don't right the ship, but I feel like the more competitive baseball you have, the better the league is. So if the Astros can right the ship, it will make for more competitive baseball in the American League West.
I can't believe you just said that.
I know. Well,
I'm
because
shocked.
it was so fun down the stretch last year. And I would be fine if it was possible for 4 teams in the American League West to lose 100 games, the Mariners to win 100 games, and they just run away with the division, they clinch it in the middle of August, and they just coast the rest of the way, right? Obviously, I would be fine with that. But a potential three-way tie on the last day of the season makes for tremendous theater.
It was fabulous.
It was a lot of fun.
Theater is right.
So Verlander made 2 rehab starts with the Sugarland Space Cowboys, which I think is a fantastic name, by the way. He pitched 7 innings, allowed 14 hits, 13 runs, 11 of those earned, and struck out 9. So here's the problem, though. He comes to an Astros team that is 26th in team ERA, 24th in strikeouts, and 29th in whip. As of Thursday afternoon, the Astros are 6-14 and dead last in the American League West.
Oh, yeah.
So there could be something missing that Verlander could bring to that team. Certainly some pitching help, but the part of the problem has been their bullpen's been awful.
A sieve, right?
Hey, yeah, a sieve. Peter and Presley have not been good, which is odd, but nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm surprised by Presley, honestly.
But what do you do, You know what? I'll say this real quick about this. I feel like a lot of times closers need the high leverage, the pressure of the high leverage situation to do well.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Mariners closer
I've heard that a million times.
Andres Munoz, the Mariners closer, came in a tie game a couple weeks ago. It was like a week and a half ago. And he walked the bases loaded and walked in the winning run in a tie game. Right? Like I kept thinking okay, he's going to find the zone when the bases are loaded. He did. He struck one guy out, but then he still didn't have control that day. But then the next day he comes in and the Mariners are up 1 in the 9th inning, and he comes in and he's lights out.
Yep.
Right. I don't know what it is about the makeup of those guys. Maybe they've got a screw loose or something. I don't know, but it seems like they need the pressure of the high leverage situation to perform. And maybe Presley just doesn't have it in those other lower leverage situations, right? So
I don't know. I think that they do have screws loose, though. I think in order to be a closer, you have to be amped up. You have to be juiced. Otherwise, and the fact that we expect them to perform when those situations aren't on is a kind of a juxtaposition I think is really interesting. Because if they should be professional ball players, but they're not Viking berserkers either. But they feel like they need to be in order to accomplish whatever their job is.
Right, because this is the thing about it, is because you have a middle reliever or even a setup man come in who gives up a run. You're like, well, that's the nature of the bullpen. But then the closer comes in and gives up a hit. You're like, oh no, right?
Oh boy, yeah.
So yeah,
we've all been spoiled for years as well with closers who are lights out, and so when you don't get one, it feels like the anomaly. It's probably not
anybody who grew up watching Mariano Rivera has the bar set so high, whether you're a Yankee fan or not. And granted, he's the best, one of the best to ever do it, right? Yeah. He and Trevor Hoffman. It's like, oh, but our closer's giving up hits? No. Yeah. Anyway,
it's crazy.
Another pitcher making his season debut is Jordan Montgomery. Makes his first start with the Diamondbacks. He's going to debut for the D-backs against the Giants in San Francisco, Oracle Park. He's been ramping up in the minors since he was signed on March 29th, and with his new agent, by the way. And in 2 starts at AAA Reno Aces, he's gone 7 2/3, struck out 9, walked 5, given up 9 earned runs and 2 homers. In 32 starts last season, he had a 3.20 ERA, struck out 166 with a 1.19 whip. Pretty good numbers, not bad in the minors early in the season, especially for a guy who didn't get spring training. I think the D-backs can expect big things out of Montgomery, though.
Yeah, I hope so. I think that's what they're hoping for, obviously, but I hope so. I just like Jordan Montgomery. I just like it. I liked him when he was in New York, and I think he got kind of a raw deal when they got rid of him, and I'm a little upset about that still. So I'm rooting for him, even though I'm a Yankees fan. But that's
I was going to say, I'm going to be completely honest with you, Brig. I think a lot of people, since he got rid of Boris, are cheering for him.
Good call.
Because a lot of baseball, because how many other agents do you know besides Scott Boras? I mean, he's kind of notorious.
Kind of one other agent, actually.
Right. And there are how many in the game? Yeah. So, yeah. And it's an interesting thing. But anyway, so keep an eye on those guys on Friday in their 2024 debuts. Okay, let's talk about Boston and Cleveland. So this game went under 2 hours. 1 hour and 45 minutes. Before we get into this break, are you feeling absolutely robbed if you're paying to be at a game that lasts an hour and 49 minutes?
Yeah, that's not enough time to get my 4th inning snack.
No. You go get your 4th inning snack, you're missing 2 innings at that pace.
Exactly. That's not okay.
Yeah, that ends up being a 6th inning snack.
Could be 2.5.
I don't even have time to eat it.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's time to go. You try and imagine showing up to do the 999 challenge. And it goes 2 hours. And you're staring at 4 beers. You're like, oh no.
He ain't driving, I'll tell you that much.
I think those people are the real casualties here.
I think you're right. But think about this, Brig. It takes me an hour to go through one of those small pouches of seeds, those small pouches of Chinook seeds. I wouldn't even have made it through 2 at that pace. Would have made it through 2 pouches of seeds during that game.
Yeah, you're right.
That's so fast. So some of the details from this game, there are only 210 pitches thrown. Boston's Tanner Houck tossed a complete game with 94 pitches.
I was going to say 210 was between both teams.
Yeah, yes, total. That's total. Total pitches. He threw 69 strikes, didn't walk any, struck out 9, and faced 29 batters, which I think is pretty dang good in that kind of game. So this is a Maddox, is what they call this. It's when you throw fewer 100 pitches. And
so you have it's a complete game. A Maddox is a complete game shutout with fewer than 100 pitches thrown.
Thank you. I had a brain fart there for me. I know what a Maddox is. I couldn't think.
For sure. So they call this a Maddox, and it's not super common. It's not like the rarest thing to ever occur, but it's not super common.
But these days, though, with batters working the count the way they are to get starting pitchers out of the game, they're becoming less and less common. Because Greg Maddux has 13 and nobody else has more than 7. And I'm curious how many guys in the league now have 1 besides Tanner Houck.
That'd be interesting. I'll bet he's one of the few, because especially with this sort of load management and arm sparing thing they're doing, where their pitchers are only going through 5, or maybe they get to 100 pitches and they're out no matter what. It'll be interesting to see if this record, if anybody.
So I could see Logan Gilbert. 7. I could see Logan Gilbert getting 1. He went complete last year, and I think he threw like 110 pitches in that game.
Oh, nice.
I could see him being a little more efficient and getting through in less than 100 pitches, but certainly not George Kirby, because he's a strikeout guy. Certainly not Luis Castillo, another strikeout guy. So he's the only guy off the top of my head, though, and it's because he's on my team.
Yeah.
So,
I could see Garrett Cole pulling it together, maybe.
You think so?
I don't think he's as efficient as he would need to be for that situation.
Because he likes to strike him out too, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, that's all he wants.
So, yeah. See, I don't think it would happen. Anyway, crazy that game went so fast. I know the pitch clock is speeding things up, but that's too fast for me. I want more baseball than that. Okay, let's go through some notable injuries just real quick, because I feel like guys are dropping like flies. To be honest,
that's how it feels to me too.
It definitely feels like
especially
it. So,
pitchers, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah. So, Ozzie Albies though for the Braves, he's out for a while. And obviously not a pitcher, but he's out for a little while. He fractured his toe. Did I see that right?
Yeah, he got a toe injury. May 3rd.
He's not expected back before May 3rd. Kyle Bradish for the Orioles has an elbow issue. Nick Pivetta with the Red Sox has an elbow issue. He's expected back on the 27th, but we know how that goes. It may or may not happen. So,
yeah, exactly.
That'll be interesting. Another Boston guy, though, Tyler O'Neill has a concussion.
Well, yeah, when you run into Rafael Devers, you're going to get a concussion.
Those cheeks will concuss you every time.
Yeah. Probably the 3 pounds of eye black. 3 pounds of eye black he's got under.
5 pounds of chaw in his cheek, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Seiya Suzuki is out till the middle of May, possibly with an oblique issue. Jameson Taillon, pitcher, has a back issue, both Cubs. Chris Bryant's back is acting up again, apparently. I don't think we should be super surprised by that. Nope. Framber Valdez with the Astros dealing with an elbow issue. Could be back any day, potentially, but like I said, we don't know because it's an elbow. Christian Yelich dealing with a back. Kodai Senga dealing with a shoulder. Not often do we see that anymore with the shoulder. Used to, it was like everybody had
rotator cuff.
It was always a rotator cuff. Now it's always the elbow. And Garrett Cole out still with an elbow until at least the end of May, looking like. So,
yep.
But here's the kicker. Is that so far right now, as of this moment, on Thursday, April the 18th, we have 28 pitchers out for the season.
They're not just sitting out because, like Garrett Cole, he's coming back. These guys are out for the season. There are 28 starters and relievers out for the season. Like,
there are 8 teams who do not have a pitcher out for the season.
Only 8.
That's nuts.
Yep.
I cannot believe that. Okay. Now, we should have led with this, to be honest with you, but this is crazy to me. And hopefully it means some really good news for Trevor Bauer. At least one of Trevor Bauer's accusers was charged with felony fraud. And I believe I saw that she could face up to 16 years in prison because of it.
Yep.
There's more to come on this. We'll watch for updates, but I think we're all thinking the same thing. Like, this feels like it should be enough for a big league team to sign him. And, I forgot that this one was still outstanding, right? That it was still out there. I think it makes sense why teams haven't signed him up to this point, because this one was still outstanding. But at this point, it's almost like feels clean to me.
Nah.
He's 2 for 2.
And more to come.
Yeah.
Right? I think that they are I think more accusers, however many of them there are. I think there's 3 for sure.
Okay.
I think they're all coming out of the woodwork, or they all came out of the woodwork trying to get on the bandwagon and try and get a piece of this thing. And even he, in his statements, has said, they had a chance to come at him in civil court. They had a chance to open up by name during the proceedings that have already taken place, and none of them did. And now I think, however many there are, they're either scattering or they're in big trouble. So,
yeah,
I've talked to a number of fans of different teams now who have said, okay, hold on. 2 things are happening here. The intersection of luck, right? First intersection is my pitcher went down. The second one is he appears to be as fully innocent as he said he was from the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
I think both of those things create this magic. And I think if you're Atlanta, you sign him. I think if you're Boston, you sign him right now. Boston's down 3 pitchers through the rest of the season.
Yeah,
Houston,
I wouldn't be surprised if Houston brought him in. Wanting to mix stuff up.
Right, Miami could bring him in. Who cares?
Because this is the thing. This is my thing with Houston too. Is that they had not a Marcell Ozuna, but was it Roberto Osuna? Osuna.
Forever ago.
Yeah, it was like 2017. I think they brought him in as their closer. While he was suspended for domestic violence, they brought him in. That was the whole thing. But they were just kind of like, we don't care. He can play. It's like, well, if you really don't care because that guy can play, here's a chance.
Well, and the Yankees, they're down a pitcher, and it's the same thing. They've brought guys in on domestic violence problems as well, and just turn the other way.
Mm-hmm.
The Braves have done the same thing. It's not an uncommon thing,
right?
But it doesn't sit well with fan bases. I got it, but here we are.
And I understand that.
We have a guy who is being absolved of all wrongdoing in every way, who has not stopped working, who has not stopped proving himself, who has not taken time away from the game and has now slacked off. He has performed in at least one other league. He showed up at the exhibition game with the Diablos Rojos.
He's still playing with the Diablos Rojos.
And dominated. I'm telling you, like, he's ready. He's ready right now. He doesn't need a ramp up. He doesn't need anything.
Right.
Like, we're watching Verlander and Montgomery kind of spinning their wheels in AAA, throwing 7-inning stretches over 2 games.
Not even. They're throwing like 3.5 each.
That's what I mean. They get 2 games. You get 7 innings total. Get up here. Let's kind of, get some of the dust off. Shake it off. You don't need to do that with Trevor Bauer. Pay the man. Put him in. Pay him the league minimum.
I was going to say, he said that he'll play for the league minimum. You have nothing to lose. Nothing to lose.
Nope.
And the other thing too is, like, if you're hurting at the gate,
Miami,
he'll put butts in seats, man.
Yeah.
Whether it's people coming to boo him or people coming to see him, he's going to put butts in seats, because the people who are like, oh, I can't believe they signed him, you're still going to show up to let the team know your displeasure, and they don't care. They're wiping their tears with their money.
That's right.
So
Miami needs butts and seats right now.
A lot of teams need butts and seats.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm thinking Miami's suffering. They've got a guy out, or 2 guys out, and they need
the
butts
White
and
Sox
seats.
could sure use them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point.
I don't know. At this point, it just doesn't make any sense that he's not on the team yet.
Yeah.
Other than that, maybe there is one more case that they're waiting to clear out before somebody does.
Maybe.
But let the guy know. Somebody just be like, hey, when this clears, we'll bring you in.
Over. Yeah.
Anyway, baseball family, if you like what we're doing, be sure to check out Patreon. This is the easiest and most direct way to support the show. You can follow the link down in the description, or head to patreon.com and search Baseball Together. There are 5 tiers of support: $1, $5, $10, $15, and a whopping $500 of support. I made a lot of promises for Brig in the $500 tier of support. So if you want to go check that out, check it out. If you don't want to do that, then you can grab one of the other tiers where you'll get the bullpen cut, a sticker, and some other swag. So head over to patreon.com and search Baseball Together if you would like to support the show in additional ways. Okay, let's go go
through the national broadcast. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yep.
Okay, Friday night, MLB TV's free game of the day is the White Sox at the Phillies. That'll be 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All of these will be in Eastern
Daylight Time, my friend.
Eastern whatever time. Eastern when the sun's out time. Okay, unless it's night.
Guns out. Anyway.
Okay, the Apple TV Plus game on Friday night is going to be either the Rangers at the Braves, 7:20 p.m., or you could choose to watch the D-backs at the Giants at 10:15 p.m. Eastern.
You could probably watch both at that time.
Yeah, you probably could, especially if they're running 2-hour games these days.
No kidding.
Yeah.
It's time to go get dinner between games.
Yeah.
Saturday on FS1, we got the Mets at the Dodgers at 4:05 p.m. And then your MLB TV free game of the day is the Rays at the Yankees at 1:05 p.m. So what this means for you, if you do not have an MLB TV subscription, you can still get on and watch one free game every single day, which is really fun, unless, of course, you live somewhere where that game is blacked out normally, and then you won't be able to watch it. So sorry, Yankee fans in New York, if you don't have MLB TV, but by then you should probably have Yes Network, is the reasoning behind that.
That's why.
And Sunday, MLB TV free game of the day is the Marlins at the Cubs at 2:20 p.m. And your ESPN Sunday Night Baseball game of the week, the Rangers at the Braves at 7:10 p.m. as always. That's going to be a cool series. In fact, series to watch, that's right up there for me.
Is it?
I want to see how the Rangers play the Braves. The Braves do not quit. They are not quitting. They are continuing to press forward despite everything, all the postseason failures over the last, 2 years, however things are shaken out for them. They continue with their same model of win games now, get into the playoffs, and continue to try to win games because they don't care. They want to try to win 162 games, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like a lot of teams are pushing that envelope the way that they are. And so I want to see how the Rangers play against the Braves because the Rangers have not been great so far.
No,
they've been
I agree.
kind of slow start, but we know what they're capable of. So I don't know. It's weird to see who they are now as to who they can be and what they will. And I'm curious what they will be later in the season. Another series I have, obviously the Mariners, the Rockies. The Mariners, obviously I'm going to want to watch the Mariners, but they're coming off a sweep of the Reds. I want to see if they can hold that momentum. Also, I want to see how the Rays and the Yankees shakes out, and the Mets and the Dodgers. Mets are playing really good right now. Dodgers obviously will be playing really well all season long, most likely. So that's going to be a good competitive series.
Makes sense to me. Obviously, I'm going to watch the Yankees no matter what. That's where it starts for me. The Yankees just gave up their first series loss of the season. They still hold the number one spot in baseball as far as win-loss record is concerned, but they finally lost a series, and they went back-to-back losses, which is
first time this year, right?
First time this year as well. So, yeah, instead of splitting it. So, anyway, that's going to be interesting to watch. I want to watch how they recover from that, especially in the Bronx. They're going to go home, so that's going to help as well. So I'm very interested to see that. I think for me, obviously, you made a great point about Rangers Braves. That's great, but I want to watch Detroit and Minnesota. I'm really interested in that series because Minnesota has what it takes. In years past, especially last season, we saw it, and they're playing okay. It's whatever.
You want to know something fun about the Tigers? The Tigers lead Major League Baseball in runs scored in the 8th and 9th innings.
See, and I'm telling you, I've been saying that. I didn't know that. That's killer. I've been saying, and so have you, that the Tigers got something cooking in the kitchen, and so I'm watching. I'm watching them, and
me
to
too.
play
I watched a lot of Tigers baseball the last week and a half.
Yeah. Orioles, Royals. At this point, the Orioles are must-see TV. There's no going back, because they're probably going to make it to the World Series unless something crazy happens. So those are the ones I'm really paying attention to.
Love it. Loving it. This day in baseball history, April 18th, 1945. In his Major League debut, one-armed outfielder Pete Gray went 1 for 4 in the St. Louis Browns' 7-1 victory over the Detroit Tigers. Here are some additional fun facts about this dude, about Pete Gray. So the 1945 season was his only season in Major League Baseball. He appeared in 77 games, and his baseball reference page notes that he bats left, throws left, and fields left as well.
Pete Gray, the one-armed outfielder.
Yes,
he certainly does. That's so awesome.
Leave it to the 40s to have a one-armed outfielder. But I guess he had Jim Abbott, who only had one hand, right?
Yeah, Jim Edmond only had one hand, yeah.
Abbott.
Not Jim Abbott. Did you say Edmond? I was like, wait a minute. I thought you did. Oh, man, sorry.
Maybe I did mess you up.
Sorry, Jim. Abbott. I know the answer to that trivia question.
Anywho. Well, baseball family, again, thank you so much for joining us for this week's live. Don't forget to hop on to ChinookSeedery.com where you can get the best seeds ever. You can support the show by using code BTPOD at checkout to get 10% off your order. Like we said, that will support the show, will support you, and most importantly, it will support your mouth with the best seeds ever. And baseball family, don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you can. Hop onto YouTube if you have not been there yet and give us a subscribe. That sub helps us out tremendously to help reach some of our goals, Brig.
And thank you for being here with us. For real, we couldn't do this without you. It means the world to us that you're here helping us along in whatever way you can. So stay tuned because we're having a blast and we hope you are too.
100%. We will catch you next week.